All right, so I hope everybody is doing well. I'm not going to hold you on long today. Should be pretty nice and straightforward. What I want to do today is I want to kind of create a chart that compares exponentials and logs next to each other, because that's the big point we're getting across, are the two different types of graphs. In your test, I'm going to show you just an equation. You're going to have to know which one to use. Do you use your exponential side? Do you use your log side? Even though they are inverses of each other. And then remember, with logs, you have natural logs and so on and so forth as well. So I want to spend today just kind of keeping it together. And then we got the practice sheet. If you finished it from yesterday, you'll be good to go. That has a couple of each. If not, we'll finish working on that sheet today. So if you just did the Desmos yesterday, we're going to do the other side, that practice sheet. If you did them both yesterday, you're good to go for today. And then tomorrow we'll get into some applications. So a quick summary of what's going on. Exponentials, remember, is going to be, I got brown, y equals something raised to the x power. So your x power is up there as an exponent. Okay, so some graphs that we got, just to kind of show you these. They're not going to be great, but that's just real bad. That's not how an axis goes. Just a couple of what could happen. I got my asymptotes. I could have them anywhere. Horizontal asymptotes. I mean, you can put them anywhere you want to. It doesn't matter. Then your graphs, just different ones. You got a decay one. You got a growth one. And then you got reflections. So this one can reflect down. This one can reflect down. So what we have here, this is your decay. This is your growth. And these both are reflections. Just kind of sketches. They don't apply great, but remember, it's decay is going down, growth is going up. Kind of to put it in the same spot so you have it. Remember, decay is when, if I just call this A, I forgot what I had it earlier. A is going to be between 0 and 1 for it to be a decay. For growth, your A is going to be greater than 1. Just kind of a quick refresher. And the only way it reflects is if the number's out front. I guess I should use B. Let's back that up and go B. I think that's what I used day one, isn't it? If not, I like the A out front still. B is still your base. All right. We'll go through all the exponents first, and then we'll go over to logs, and you can see it side by side. So in my XY chart, what we're going to use to graph in our XY chart, and if something doesn't make sense, please let me know. Before we do our transformations, we're choosing 0 and 1 for my x's, right? And then if I look at this, if I plug 0 into that equation up top, b to the 0 power is always 1, because anything to the 0 power is always 1, right? B to the first power, anything to the first power is what? Itself. So 2 to the first power would be 2, 7 to the first power would be 7, so on and so forth. So what you have here is that's always going to be your base, because anything to the first power is your base. And logs are fresh in your mind. You see that chart's just in reverse, right? Even when I write the word base in. All right. All right, slide them up. Asymptotes. These asymptotes are flat, so these are horizontal. Horizontal asymptotes. And it's always y equals. So for example, if I had y equals 3 to the x plus 4 plus 5, your asymptote is this number. So it's always your adjustment. Circle that. Making it pretty. your domain is always all real numbers, so negative infinity, positive infinity. It is always all real numbers. Let's slide them up. All right. My range always depends on if it's reflected or not. Okay. So if it is reflected or if it is not. So if it is not reflected, it is always your horizontal asymptote to infinity, or negative infinity to your horizontal asymptote. This is your reflected. So if it's a reflection, it's below it now, so it goes from negative infinity up to your horizontal asymptote. All right, my intervals. So you're going to tell if it's increasing or decreasing. Depending on if it's growth or decay. Remember, it's never both. And it's also on your domain, so remember your domain is negative infinity, positive infinity. So it's either increasing or decreasing. It can't be both. The whole thing is either increasing if it's a growth or decreasing if it's a decay. And it's always your domain, so negative infinity, positive infinity. And then your end behavior, as x approaches negative infinity, my f of x is going to approach something. And then as x approaches positive infinity, my f of x is going to approach something. Remember, your only answers here can be plus or minus infinity or my horizontal asymptote. If I kind of throw something in here, remember this just means left side. And this means right side. So what's happening on the left side is that first one. What's happening on the right side is the second one. And then if it's going up or down, that's your fill in the blanks. Y'all are getting very good at this. So that's nice to see. All right. Does anybody have any questions on all of the exponent stuff? Just putting it all in one space for you rather than all over the place in your different pages of notes. All right. Let's come over here and look at logs. So I got a couple different, I need some more space. So we have two different types of logs. We have y equals the natural log of x, and y equals log base b of x. So y equals the natural log of x. Remember, this always has a base of what? E, and remember E is roughly 2.72. And this b, if not written, b is equal to what? 10. So some side notes, natural log always has a base of e, and e is roughly 2.72. So if you see natural log, it's the same graph over and over again. Your base for a log will change. If it's not written, it automatically has a base of 10. All right, so let's look at our different pictures. So I got my asymptotes. I'll keep it the same. So you can have one here. It doesn't matter. One here, give or take. So I can have a sketch that looks like this, or I can have a decay one that looks like this. So remember, this is if your B is greater than 1. If your B is in between 0 and 1. Those are your two options. So if your B is between 0 and 1, you got your decay looking log. If your B is greater than 1, you're good to go. Cool. All right. Slide it up a little bit. Should have gotten the written part down, so should be good. Okay, the next one is my X and Y chart. So remember, they are inverses of each other, so my X's and Y's flip. So my X's now become my Y's, so my Y is 0 and 1. And my X's are my 1 and my base, so B for base. Slide them up. Does everybody have the graphs, or anybody need the graphs anymore? Putting a whole lot of crap on one page for you. It's nice. All right, my asymptotes. These are now going to become, instead of horizontal, they're going to be vertical. So it's going to be X equals. And same thing, if I have an equation, let's say Y equals log base 3 of X plus 3 plus 2. I'm going to look inside here now. That's a plus 3, so I'm going to have a minus 3 here. All right, let's see. What's next? I can't see. Domain. All right, so domain, we're flip-flopping them, so it's going to come up. So this is always going to be X is greater than whatever. So the way we're writing it is I got my vertical asymptote into infinity because it's always on the right side. It's never on the left because I'm not reflecting over the y-axis. I'm only reflecting over the x-axis. So it's always the vertical asymptote to infinity. My range is always negative infinity, positive infinity, or you can write all real numbers. And that's always going to be true. So this is either going to increase or decrease again. Never both. And remember, it is always with the domain. So my domain was my vertical asymptote to infinity. And then in behavior, it's going to be as x approaches your vertical asymptote. What's my function doing? And then as x approaches infinity, I don't know why I'm putting lines there. Really small eraser. My f of x is going to approach something. Remember, both of these right here, they can be plus or minus infinity. Those are your options. Remember, this is still the left side. This is still the right side by definition. All right. I like this chart. Give you a second while it zoomed in. Anybody got any questions? I think this chart is very useful, especially since your test is graphing and it's going to be open notes. You got everything in one spot. Yep. I can zoom in whatever I need to. So make sure you have it. Make sure you're good with it. Your task today, if you did not do it yesterday, make sure it gets completed. Excuse me, the 6-7 practice, I put it back under E-class for today as well. So make sure that gets done. If I need to print out for y'all, I can. but it's 6 questions. It's a combination of logs, exponentials, and natural logs. So make sure we know how to graph it and get our characteristics down. Okay? Anybody have any questions?